Yeah. Oh, YouTube. Good evening, YouTube. Yeah. What? Oh yeah. Yeah. If you are watching an archive, hello. Oh dear. Right. If you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward about 8 minutes to the top of the show. Always start streaming a wee bit early. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Oh, blimey. I need to re-download these things, don't I? I need to download. Tyranny, blimey. That's right. That is the problem. Right. Oh, look at that. Whoa. Hey folks, okay, coming up in just a few minutes, coming up in 15 seconds, 5 minutes and 15 seconds, Dave Witcher tonight, Tyranny, yeah, okay, so if you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward 5 minutes, and otherwise, yeah, let's have a good show, okay, great, yeah, okay. Does it feel like a Monday? It feels like a Monday. Yeah. If you're watching on Facebook, get onto YouTube. Yeah. Boycott Nick Clegg, for goodness sake. Oh, for crying out loud. Come on, folks. gov.ly/live. gov.ly/live. Please, on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, God. Hold on. You know what? That's a wee bit loud, isn't it? Wee bit loud. Right. Yeah. Do fill in the gap. Do. Look at that. 30 people watching on Facebook. They should be watching on YouTube. gov.ly/live. gov.ly/live. At the top of the spiel is the link. There should be a link. I hope there's a link. Hold on. Is there a link? Oh, there's not a link. Oh, no. Hold on. Is there a link? Oh, yeah, there's a link. Come on. There's no excuse, people, for crying out loud. They censor me. I will not support them. Yeah, and I know YouTube aren't much better, but I haven't actually crossed swords with them yet. And anyway, Nick Clegg, I mean, what more do I need to say? Fascism, yeah? Government meets, corporate, all that. Benito's definition here. Jack boots are optional, people. They'll be coming. Woo! Hello, hello. Oh. That'll be Witcher.
Hello.
Roll. Witchy woo. How you doing, mate? Looking good. Could have shaved for me. Oh yeah, here we go. 2 minutes, people. 2 minutes, good people. Oh, blimey. Oh yeah.
Remember how you did it. If you still wanna kiss it, come and get it. Sweeter than a rice cake, cake breast sipping, kill it, tip it, feel it. Remember how you did it. Remember how you did it. If you still wanna kiss it, come and get it. Sweeter than a rice cake, breast sipping, kill it, tip it, feel it. Doggy want the kitty. Give me a heart attack and throw it back. Now watch me get it. I knew this, but cutie. Damn girl, you pretty. Blowing out your candles, let me make a couple wishes. Now watch me get it. 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 It's not even my birthday.
That's right. YouTube, folks, youtube.com/Daily Brexit. Please check out the show from there because Facebook sends from me. And oh, blimey, look at that. I'm a minute late. Oh, struth. Okay. It's starting in 50 seconds, people. I do apologize. Yeah, no, really sorry. Comments only from YouTube from now on because I just can't support a platform that doesn't support free speech. You know what? And anyway, Nick Clegg. I mean, do I need to say any more? Oh, hold on. That's awful. That is awful. I can't listen to anything of that. Blimey. Hold on. What's this? Oh, yeah. There we go. Get everybody. It's very nice, but you know what? I'm running out of time. Hey, folks. good evening, good people. Welcome to the Daily Brino. Holding democracy to account, fighting for self-determination, and exposing Facebook as being a censorious bar. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now, tyranny. Brexit is fake, a scam, a diversion. It was never about democracy, our choice. It is pure smoke and mirrors, distractive chicanery, a total ruddy fraud. So says Dave Witcher, outlining the endgame now. Plus, an update on the People's Party versus UKIP and that poll that I put out, which had thousands of recipients, responders. Godfrey Bloom, by the way, is now booked for Thursday's show because he's got a head cold today. And word from Viscount St Davids on lobby for democracy. Hint for that one, we're game on, people. Yeah, game on! Taking your calls on UK national number 033 0001164. And that number should be in the spiel today. It wasn't the other day. It was supposed to be. It should be now. And you can also call on Discord, VOIP if you like, gov.ly/rant. And we'll see you in the comments. Please support the show. PayPal.me/Brexit. Thank you. And yeah, I've run out of theme tune. Right, okay. Witcher, good evening, sir. How are you, man?
Oh, sorry, we had some technical issues there, Ollie. Have we got you?
Mate. A bit of chaos, as we like a bit of chaos. So you're there. Good. Excellent. What?
I'm here.
Yeah. Your audio is... are you using the microphone on that headset? You sound as though you're...
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. It's
no
right.
good?
Yeah, no, it's all right. I can hear you, sir. I can hear you. Hold on a sec. We've already got a call in. We've got Piers here. Piers Garnham. He's supposed to be on tomorrow. Hold on. We'll see what he's got to say. He probably doesn't realise he's live with us. Garnham.
Yes.
You know we're doing the show tomorrow, don't you?
Yes, I was just... Sorry, you in the middle of a show?
Yeah, that's right. I'm just starting a show, mate. No worries. Hold on a sec.
I'm back on Skype, so we're good to go.
Oh, that's good. Oh, great. You were just calling to test your Skype, were you, in the middle of the show? Okay, that's brilliant.
Sorry, I apologise, Ollie. That's
right.
terrible of me.
Stay on, mate. Hang around, mate. It's going to be good.
Hang round. Do you want to hang around? You want to hang around? You can hang around. Yeah, look,
I can hang about it.
All right, you might as well. Let's just go through the old fake stream and see what's going on, according to them, before these guys, I suggest, are going to completely rip it apart. It's a complete lot of old nonsense. Guido is leading. Tories are recruiting new MEP candidates. It's just not going to happen on the 12th. Let's face it. Their take on it. Depressing news for Brexiteers. The Conservative Party this afternoon emailed its candidates list asking for people to apply to stand in potential European elections. Due to the current situation, we will be contesting the European elections on the 23rd of May 2019, and the closing date for nominations is the 24th of April. That's their take on it. And meanwhile, according to Breitbart, their top story this evening is... Dave, please mute your dog. Thank you. God bless you. Breitbart has a slightly different take on it. Amid Brexit failures, over half of Britons want strong leadership, say main parties don't care about them. And absolutely, I'll tell you what, anybody that is ever going to vote Lib Lab Con again, frankly, needs their head examined. I wouldn't trust any of them. And I'm not just saying about the ones that are, remorons. I'm talking about the supposed Brexiteers in those parties as well. Because if you remain under the whips of, well, I mean, the Lib Dems are all, illiberal, anti-democratic anyway. We know that. But in terms of the Conservatives and the Labour Party, they're actually, deceiving folks about their being so remoronic. And anybody, frankly, that wants to stand for a party that is so dead set against democracy, I have to say, I cannot support any of those people anymore. Even people who I would give a hug for their service so far, people like Marc Francois and what have you. Quite frankly, I'm sorry. If you're going to stay in a party that is tyrannical, then you don't deserve any support. I don't know whether you're playing, I don't know whether there's a game going on or what, but the bottom line is it's about time that people really, really put their principles in the country before some damn party, yeah? And I am a proud floating voter. And I hate the fact that we have to vote for these bloody political parties anyway. I'd far rather if we had a better system with direct democracy or proportional representation, perhaps is another strong arguments for that as well, as opposed to this party political poison that always gives us a duopolistic choice. It's like a Pepsi challenge. Pepsi, Coke, doesn't matter. They're both going to rot your teeth and you'll end up with cancer. So if I were you, I would stop voting for Lib, Lab, Con and start voting for parties that maybe, just maybe, are going to help us towards democracy in the UK. So if you're in Northern Ireland, for example, I'd say, yeah, DUP, doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Arlene and co. But for the rest of the UK, I don't know. This was going to be the show tonight. UKIP versus the Brexit Party, and considering all the ramifications of what have you with Godfrey Bloom. Unfortunately, can't make it, so we're going to be discussing that on Thursday. So anyway, but in terms of Labour, Conservative, come on. They're just playing a game with us. She's off, what is it, tomorrow, I think now, Tess May, whatever. She's going off to see her mate Merkel again, that she drummed up checkers with before she put it to our British cabinet, yeah? She's going to be talking to her again, trying to work out how they can keep us in a customs union. It is not Brexit. And they also want to be extending it when we know damn well we could go out on a WTO deal, yeah? A WTO deal. It's a deal. It's a deal that is used by most countries around the world. And why couldn't we use that as a base on which to build ourselves? Plus, there's a load of other deals off the back of it to keep the planes in the air, the lorries fly, all that. That's all been set in place. There's no such thing as a no deal Brexit as crashing out. That's all nonsense. That's absolute propaganda. The fact is that we do have a very, very good chance of a deal here. A WTO deal, they just don't want to honor it because they're a bunch of fascists, frankly. So anyway, anybody that wants to support a party that supports fascism is no friend of mine. I don't care what you're voting. I've just had enough. So anyway, that's my take on it. And I think a lot of people agree. According to Breitbart here, for example, and I know I haven't framed this right. I've got my graphic. I'm still trying to work on the graphics on this show. Yeah, I've a few changes recently. But Breitbart, their top story. Amid Brexit failures, over half of Britons want strong leadership. Say main parties don't care about them. Britons are increasingly making a move towards populism, and pop means people, yeah, Latin, so that's all right by me, as opinions in favour of the legacy British political system are at their lowest in 15 years. Only 15? The Hansard Society's Audit of Political Engagement 16, published Monday, found that citizens are becoming more inclined to want to overhaul the current system of government, with 72% saying they believe it needs quite a lot or a great deal of improvement. It needs scrapping entirely. We need absolute root and branch reform is what we need. And they clearly don't want to do it. But anyway, that's Breitbart's take on it. And Westminster's got a similar take on really the same story. Local pro-Brexit groups out protesting on a weekly basis. I think a lot of us are protesting every single day. Pro-Brexit activists are now regularly out on the streets across the country as they grow increasingly frustrated with the failure of Westminster to deliver what 17.4 million voted for. Plus, who knows how many millions of abstentions, by the way, that weren't sure and thought they'd leave it to democracy. One such group is Warrington for Brexit, whose activists were out in their town this past Saturday for the 9th weekend in a row in their latest walk for democracy, etc., etc., etc. I don't think we're very surprised about that. And one other story I'm just going to bring to your attention, because it's a very, very important story again, and it comes off the back of the EU having just introduced Articles 11 and 13, whereby they are censoring the web. So, for example, a show like this wouldn't be able to have shown those news stories without getting permission from Breitbart or whoever else I want to get the story from. And you can imagine that if you're going to try and get permission to run a story about the BBC or the Express or from whatever, the Daily Fail, whatever, they're not going to say yes, are they? And so it's very, very convenient. The EU, they reckon at the moment they're not going to clamp down on it, but when they can, when they've got PESCO through, when they've got our armies and all the rest of it, then guess what? They will clamp down. They will clamp down. And then it will not be possible for there to be free speech. Anyway, off the back of that, that is EU legislation now. That's EU law now, Articles 11 and 13. It's not just going to affect people that are sharing cake memes and stuff like that. CNET has a development on it, which has also been online around and about today. UK to unleash internet safety czar on Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Social media companies will face huge fines if they fail to live up to their duty of care to internet users. The UK government is taking a hard line when it comes to online safety. This is the line. This is the line. Online safety. Moving to establish what it says is the world's first independent regulator to keep social media companies in check. They want to keep us in check. That's what they want to do. And that's what will be extended from this. Little by little by little by little, whittling away at our liberty. Companies that fail to live up to requirements will face huge fines, and senior directors who are proven to have been negligent will be held personally liable. They may also find access to their sites blocked, etc., 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 etc. Tyranny. Gentlemen, I think that's a good cue.
Well done, Ollie.
Unbelievable.
Congratulations.
I'll start with you,
Well done.
Witcher, while I try and sort out your pictures so that I can see both of you. I'm
just going to smoke a cigarette out of the window, so don't worry about me.
Lovely. All right. Good on you, mate. Yeah, fine. What is your take, Dave, on what we are seeing at the moment?
Is for me, Ollie. It's a psyop. It's an exercise.
You're saying Brexit? Brexit is a psyop.
Yeah.
And why?
Well, because let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to 2016. Mm-hmm. David Cameron is the prime monster of this country, or prime minister.
Yeah.
And I want people to just, for a second out there, visualise Downing Street right now. Downing Street is off limits. It is shut at the top, shut at the bottom, massive big steel gates with men with machine guns on it. And I want you to keep that picture in your head.
Yeah, anyway, that's right. I saw it the other day. They do. They have bloody great big machine guns that they're carrying outside those. Right. And there's not one gate. There are 3 gates actually outside Downing Street at the moment. Carry on, please, Dave.
So can we deduce from that itinerary that they have on the gates and the fact that that building is on lockdown, do we have freedom where we can hold anyone in public office accountable? No. They hide behind this wall of metal and steel and men with machine guns. And I would suggest that, push come to shove, these men and women with machine guns would, if given the order via their earpiece to open fire, probably would take that order without question. That's dangerous. So, 2016, this country voted on the biggest democratic exercise that it has seen for many, many years.
Ever.
And it was an in-out vote. It was for, we are either remaining in the European Union or we are leaving the European Union.
Yes.
It wasn't to have 1,020 odd days to do nothing. And that's what they've done. They have done nothing apart from talk and exercise hot air. They have not implemented the repeal of the Economic Communities Act of 1972 that Edward Heath took us into.
That's right.
They've made no effort into repeal that from the statute books. The Queen signed the withdrawal bill to leave the European Union as per statute, and that was on the 29th of March this year. That has failed to happen, so Parliament have breached the royal prerogative. They have sidestepped the Queen. She gave royal assent for the UK to leave the European Union on the 20th.
Hold on, you're breaking up a bit there. You're breaking up a wee bit there, Dave. Sorry, go on. She gave what? The Queen gave what?
She signed the withdrawal to repeal.
Oh, I'll tell you, GCHQ is having a go, isn't it? Oh, GCHQ, the boys at Cheltenham are having a go, probably. Look, just while we, hopefully your audio will recover, I'm just going to chuck out a couple of show notes. First of all, please, if you're watching this on Facebook, you're in the wrong place, and you are supporting censorship and fascism. I did a big old show, as a lot of you know, with Viscount St Davids regarding Robin Tilbrook. He's underwriting Robin Tilbrook's action against the government, suing the government over their extension, illegal, he cites, of Article 50. And he very kindly came on and we had a big old chat about that. And he is, off the back of that show, I just found that one or two folks I knew couldn't link to it. When I sent them a link, there was like, it doesn't exist. The show doesn't exist. And so I put out a post to find out, how that was affecting people, and the response was pretty huge. And I'm getting lots of personal messages saying, "Olly, we thought you'd snuffed it. We haven't seen you for months." So look, the bottom line is that we are being corralled. We are being herded like cattle by Facebook. So that, with people that you agree with, it's fine. You can have your little chat and what have you. But as soon as you're trying to reach out and basically trying to create awareness across a broad church, oh no, they're not having it. I don't know what it's got to do with you, Mr. Nick Clegg, yeah? Since you got your, fingers involved in that Facebook thing, I wonder what your job is at Facebook, yeah? And politics and business, we know that kind of collusion is what Benito Mussolini called fascism, yeah? Please, I cannot be supporting Facebook anymore, and so I would really, really appreciate it. And I don't like YouTube either, yeah? It's Google, for crying out loud. It is, frankly, it's evil. I'm sorry. It is. I mean, they don't pay their tax. They cavort with China to censor that lot and all the rest of it. However, so far I'm juggling, yeah? I'm juggling. And until I can find a better solution, I am taking comments only on YouTube. I'm not going to be taking any comments whatsoever from Facebook. So if you do want to contribute to the show, and I hope you do, and I hope that I honor the comments as much as I possibly can, then please get over to YouTube, and the link is at the top of the spiel there. I put it there, but for easy reference, I've got a short link, which is guv.li/live, and Monday to Tuesday from 7 till 8 it will always be there. You can always check that link. If you can remember, it's youtube.com/daily Brexit if you want the whole archive, and you can see the live show there as well. But anyway, and one other show note regarding the Viscount Lord St Davids, which a lot of people are very keen about. One of the things we discussed in that show last week, which was a big show, by the way, we had a fantastic turnout, despite Facebook, is that I asked him, I said, what about if we go into the lobby in the Palace of Westminster, not just a few of us, but a coach load of us every single day, or maybe coach loads, and we lobby our MPs, because you can do it. You have the democratic right to do it. They cannot stop you doing it. And we should be doing that. We should have been doing it for months. I didn't realize that it was possible until I was there myself last Monday. And yes, it is. And the cops there are quite cool as well. I have to say they were pretty cool. And we need to do that. We need to be showing them a presence on their doorstep in their Westminster bubble. I think that the other day we had a lovely time. I saw old Dave Witcher outside in Parliament Square, and it was one of all, saw lots and lots of people. It was great. We should have been inside the Palace of Westminster. We should have been going through security, through Westminster Hall and St. whatever Stephen's Hall and into the lobby with a capital L, where you see them doing their pieces to camera, the BBC fake stream news or whatever it is. We can go in there. It is our democratic right to petition face-to-face our MPs and elected representatives, and we need to be doing that. The question is, will we get some sort of short shrift from the cops and what have you? And I put this to Rodri, and we were talking about it, and he, the Viscount St Davids, and he loved the idea so much that he said, if you do that, I personally and other lords will chaperone you. Now, how cool is that? How cool is that? Now, I've already got, like, Shireen Whittaker, for example, has messaged me saying, we've booked the coach. When do we go? Well, I spoke to him today. I spoke to Rodri today. I've been trying to get hold of him the last few days. Spoke to him today, finally, the Viscount, and he is absolutely game on. He's already talking to other people in the Lords about the procedure to do this in a way that everybody's going to be safe and what have you. It is going to happen, yeah. So please, PM me, message me personally, and I am still using Facebook. Using, yeah. But I'm just not taking comments from there. I'm trying to get people across to YouTube. But please PM me on Facebook and friend me on there or whatever, and then you can PM me. And if you've got a coach load that you want to take down there, and I hope you do. And Shireen Whittaker, for example, a few other folks have shown an interest as well. Thank you so much. Let's do this. Right, okay, that's my show notes, and hopefully now, Dave Witcher, your audio is a bit better, sir. Blimey, I'll tell you what.
Hopefully, is that any better?
Yeah, it is. You did get cut off. I
better?
wonder what happened to you.
Right.
I did want to get those show notes out anyway. I mean, isn't that awesome? Don't you agree? That is a good idea to get down to Westminster and show them, you know, on their patch to bring to bear a little bit more pressure.
Every time this country has come into some sort of stress.
Hark at that. Why is he breaking up when he starts talking?
Which is...
Oh dear. I don't know what's going on, Dave. You are really
Brexit is, which what's going on in this country now. Politicians that act like good God, and they're...
Do you think people are...
There's always this constant...
Do you think people are messing with us? Wouldn't surprise me at all. I'll tell you what. Aye. Piers, you look as though you're extraordinarily relaxed, mate. You know you're going out to the entire world here.
Crisis. And
Witcher, you're blimey, I don't know what's going on with your audio. It's dreadful, mate. It's dreadful. Oh, blimey. Piers, what do you think about this idea? Go down Westminster and just give them a bit face to face. Polite.
I think it's an absolutely fabulous idea. You did it yourself. You were nearly arrested, but you stood your ground. You knew your legal standing. The police detained you for what, an hour and a half?
Yeah, that's right. I had a parliamentary detention. I had to do the lines.
Who will remain nameless.
Emily Thornbury.
Emily Thornbury. There you go.
Yeah.
You asked her a valid question. She refused to answer. Her assistant gave you her business card, said you could call her or she'd contact you. Then a formal complaint by Emily Thornbury was put in just because you asked her a question she didn't like.
That's right. She alleged that I had caused her This was actually her SPAD, who put this in. But let's face it, she wouldn't have done it without her MPs say so. Alarm, harassment, and distress. That was the allegation of. Carry on, Piers. Sorry.
Well, no, I think it's utterly extraordinary. It shows the unbelievable arrogance of the MPs that exist in the House of Commons. They think they're like demigods or something. And you were exercising your legal right to go into the House of Commons, into the lobby, and ask and lobby your MPs. And you asked valid questions to an MP, and just because she didn't like the tone, she filed an official complaint.
Oh, the tone was polite. The tone was polite. I just pointed out that she hadn't answered my question, which was 408 of 650 constituencies in general election terms voted to leave. Where is the democracy in this place? She started giving me a convoluted answer, and I merely pointed out that she wasn't answering the question. So she went off in a huff. And then her SPAD gives me her business card and says, "Oh, look, just give me a bell and I'll sort something out." And I said, "Well, if I call you, you'll never call me back. Let's face it." And she got a bit huffy then too, and then said, "Oh, yeah, I will call you." And I'm then trying to talk to a few other people, and before you know it, tap on the shoulder. "Hello, got to escort you off the premises here, sir, because we've had an allegation that you have been causing alarm, distress, and harassment, or whatever it was." Anyway, balls, absolute rubbish. I pointed that out. I wasn't going to give him my name or anything like that. I said to the police, "I haven't done anything wrong. I'll speak to my solicitor first, if that's all right with you." They said, "Fine, okay." They said, "Oh yeah, okay. He knows the law a bit. Fine, okay. We'll respect this guy then." And then after an hour and a half of being detained, effectively, having to write out my lines, "I must not be naughty," 100 times, the cop comes up to me and he says, actually, they've dropped the allegation and you're free to go. And I looked him in the eye and I said, "Or to stay." And he gave me a big old grin and said, "Yes, sir." And that's the point.
Who was it who you spoke to who was, from the some journalism who were expressing an interest in the story?
Well, they didn't run it, but Guido apparently were, interested, but they didn't actually run it in the end. But probably because I criticised them on the show. I don't know, but anyway, carry on. She
realised she was going to get some negative press, so she retracted. These people are scum. They are
frankly
scum.
Yeah, Emily, you are. You are. If you're going to do that. It's a perversion of democracy. And the fact is that we can go down to the Palace of Westminster, we can stand in that lobby and petition our MPs face to face and say, "You know what are you doing? We voted to leave. Where is it? Where is the democracy? This is tyranny." I'm probably not shouting quite as loudly as that. Got to keep it polite, people. And we can do that now, chaperoned by lords who support us, And that is very, very good to have the protection of good people like the Viscount St Davids. God bless you. Thank you, sir. But yeah. Oh, Dave, mate. So let's try your audio again now.
Hello.
Do you think
better?
Well, hopefully so. I wondered if somebody was playing with us or what.
Okay.
But okay, let's get right into this. Let's get into the thick of this because you two chaps. I know Piers called by accident this evening, and he's actually on tomorrow. The fact is, we could go down some very deep rabbit holes here. You, Dave, are saying that Brexit has always been a scam. Why do you say that?
Well, the European Union come into effect in 1972. There was a referendum in 1974 where they was very unsure whether it was a right thing to have done, and there was some good arguments put in there to suggest that they'd sort of made the good choice and then the bad choice. But they decided in 1974 to stay in. So the European Union, as for every year that's gone on since 1974, have piece by piece by piece been destroying the rule of law, the constitutional arrangements of this country, the fact that we have a monarchy. They pretty much stripped that out, and the Queen really, for all intents and purposes, is a puppet. So they've been taking piece by piece by piece. For the last couple of years, they needed a diversion to implement their final cunning plans for a full-on lockdown for EU forever and ever and ever. They've already segregated the UK into separate zones,
Yes.
European Union zones.
That's correct.
So we know, I think if we look over there at Brexit, they say, yeah, go for it. But in the background, they've been making strides towards complete and utter lockdown. And I don't think, personally, that England will ever leave the European Union, ever.
Could they not have just carried on doing what they were doing? Sorry, go on, Piers.
No.
What were you going to say, Piers?
Well, no, I mean, I agree with him, sadly. I think the whole thing has been a complete farce from start to finish. I mean, Cameron was given his marching orders because he messed the whole thing up. I mean, they gave us the referendum, but they honestly thought they'd be able to rig it enough in order to be able, they also didn't think that the general populace were going to vote to leave. They got their studies and their understanding of the situation completely wrong. And I do believe they rigged the previous referendum in favour of Remain. But so many people voted to leave that, the margin between leave and stay were reduced, but leave still won. And so Cameron was given his marching orders because he messed the whole thing up. The intention was that we would vote to stay, and that would be the end of it.
The referendum was in 75, actually. The referendum on the common market, as it was then, which of course is completely different. It was a trade body, folks. Nobody voted for a kind of a super state thing, whatever it is, with unelected leaders and God knows what else.
No, they didn't. You're right. I mean, David, as sad as what David's saying makes sense. I mean, I am fully expecting us to be manoeuvred into a full Remain scenario in the next couple of weeks, and then, to be fair, it won't matter if we vote out our politicians, our MPs, because the UK will radically start to change. We will just be subsumed by Brussels, and our parliament, which is ironically our government is spending hundreds of millions of pounds on getting refurbished, it will be nothing more than a satellite office of Brussels and Strasbourg. Party politics will basically cease to exist in the UK, and this has always been the agenda. So this is why May is being so utterly reckless and doesn't actually care whether or not she destroys the Conservative Party, because party politics will cease to exist.
That is correct. That is correct. Carry on, please.
Yeah, once the Lisbon Treaty fully kicks in, we will be fully immersed. We'll be forced to take on the euro. The pound will no longer exist. We will join the European army. We'll basically become, a section of the European superstate. With the only difference being that we have the channel running between us and mainland Europe, but we will be very much a sector of the federal
like something out of the Hunger Games. It seems to me, actually.
This is why they're building HS2. I mean,
really? Why?
They want,
What's that got to do with it?
They want high-speed rail networks running throughout the European federal superstate, linking main hubs of humanity together. And this is HS2 is part of this recipe. Correct me if I'm wrong, David.
No, you're bang on. You make complete sense.
So
HS2
you think
and these vanity projects, which cost massively inflated budgets, go massively over budget, and they are all being put in place by hook or crook because it's all you talk about the Hunger Games, Ollie. That's exactly correct in the sense that they're going to start influencing where we can live, how we can live. And every aspect of our lives will ultimately end up being controlled. They
already are, actually. This sector produces X goods, trade, whatever, tourism. That sector does that. That sector does something else. I mean, for example, that's one of the reasons why the UK, the steel industry has gone kaput. The car industry is gone. pretty well. I mean, in terms of producing our own stuff as opposed to doing it for other people, and fishing as well, as we know. These things have all been sort of shipped off to different sectors. And a place like, I don't know, Spain, for example, gets the tourism and so on and so forth. And it seems to be like that. They are saying, Germany is a manufacturing base, and so on and so forth. It does appear to be. It
goes further. They're trying to make it cool now to suggest that having a chip put in your hand that has all your bank and credit card and cards, your Visa debit card details on it. They're trying to make it cool, and they're trying to make it sound trendy and with it and going with modern times.
They're paying people to do it. They're bribing people to do it.
Yeah, it won't be long.
People are queuing up to do it in some companies.
Like
go on, sorry. Go on, Piers. What?
We'll all be chipped like dogs. It'll have GPS tracking in it. It'll have. You won't be able to pay for anything unless you swipe your hand across a payment thing. There'll be no cash. So if you are out of favour with the powers that be, you will be switched off in terms of your ability to be able to pay for anything. And because there'll be no cards in your wallet or cash, the only thing you can pay with will be this chip in your hand. And if they switch the bloody thing off, then you won't be able to buy anything.
Yeah.
So
if you're naughty, you'll be turned off. That's it. No more credit for him. Oh no, he said something naughty about the EU. And it's a crime, by the way. It's a crime under EU law for journalists to criticise the EU. And it's in the same sentence that's written as it's a crime to criticise religion and the EU. I kid ye not. And that may be one of the reasons why, I don't know, but it may be one of the reasons why the BBC and all of these, EU love organizations do not criticize them, because as if you are a member of the National Union of Journalists, then you'll just be kicked out, and then you'll find it harder to get a job or what have you. But again, these laws, we never hear about them because we don't hear the test cases, because they bring in the legislation proposed by unelected technocrats, but they don't actually impose the law upon us at this stage. But when they've all got us under their control, then they will. And that's what we're fighting. And it's absolutely incredible. Aussie 4848, do something wrong and you won't be allowed to access your bank account. Mikey B says, I'm already cashless. Well, Mikey B, maybe you should be a little bit more thoughtful about that, because cash is one of our last freedoms. Pauline Davies in southeast of England, Aquin, is applying to the Secretary of State before applying for planning permission to excavate for an underground cable from. Oh no, I can't see the rest of that because it's gone off the screen. I'm not used to reading comments from YouTube. Sam JP, vaccinated en masse. 5G to control us or kill us, Sam says. No hard currency, no free speech, social media shutdown, propaganda, only news and TV. Welcome to 1984. And 1984, George Orwell, Mr. Witcher, is exactly how it feels to me. We're there now, pretty much.
I went to a school in southeast London called Haberdasher Aske's. Mm-hmm. I was quite clever at school, funnily enough, very switched on. And in 1984, we read 1984 as a class. There must have been 35 of us in the class. And it took a few weeks to go through the book and read it. And we all laughed. We laughed. We said, that's just complete fiction. That will never, ever happen. Little did I know that it was going to be a life manual, like an SAS survival kit nowadays. Getting back to Piers's point with the marking of the hand with the chip, it's prophesized that you'll either be marked in the hand or the forehead. All I will say, people out there in the world that watch this, stop using your cards. Go to the cash machine, draw out cash. If you do not keep cash in circulation, that's your freedom. You are sucker punched. You have to keep the cash flow going. It takes 2 seconds to walk up to a cash machine, draw it out. And my suggestion is draw as much as you can out of the banks and just leave a bit in there to cover your bits and pieces, because they lose their power. It's the banks that run the world, Ollie. It's not politicians. It's not the European Union. It's the bankers.
And
they
also,
run the freaking lot, mate.
And also, shop small, yeah. Shop local.
Yeah.
Give your local, give your neighbour the business, yeah. Don't give it to Amazon. Don't buy books from Amazon, please. It's like something out of Fahrenheit 451 or whatever that another utopian novel was about. And pay cash, and then they don't have to pay bank charges. Yeah, so get it out of the cash point, and please, carry on.
Can I add
Dave,
something?
Carry on. Yes, please, Piers. Thank you.
Just that I think George Orwell was a member of a secret society, probably
Sure.
the Masons. And one of the interesting things about all these sort of stories that we grew up with that were part of the curriculum at school, it was Brave New World and
Yep.
1984.
Aldous Huxley.
Were on the
Yep.
curriculum. They were essential reading, and they were all painting these dystopian futures. It's like they wanted us to know what they had planned for us, and that's actually a fact. They do
that, don't they?
They have these weird esoteric sort of occult rules that they all work by, and it's all to do with the manipulation of free will. And they know that, if they're going to do something to us, they are duty bound to tell us everything they're going to do before they do it. So therefore, but they can circumvent this law. And I've said this many times on your show before, by painting it as fiction. So they tell us the truth. They tell us what they're going to do to us. They put it in the school curriculum and make us read these books and then take tests and exams on them. Yes. And then we then automatically disregard it as a fiction. And therefore, by doing so, we inadvertently give them the right to carry on doing what they have planned. Yeah. And that's the way these rules work. A lot of what we see in cinema and on the telly and read in books and that is painted as fiction is actually their agenda. Go on, David.
They have to give you the truth and the lie in the same thing. They have to. It's all in the scripture. I see it playing out with the marking of the chip with the bank in your hand or the forehead. Obviously, you're not going to look too clever walking around with a chip in your forehead, but I think if they could get away with it, they probably would. We always have held the power. There are 70 million of us that now need to rise peacefully, come together in unity, stop worrying about politics, because politics is a cancer. It has got us into this mess in the first place, and you can't fix something with stupid. You have to come back to the rule of law and some common sense, and if we don't do that, we're finished.
You can't fix something with stupid, he said. I think that was broken up slightly, but and so I have to say, you know what, because I sometimes wonder if I'm kind of like a bit of a fraud here, with this show, Daily Brexit, talking about the political situation day in, day out, and what have you. We do some esoteric shows. Old Piers comes on, and we go down that rabbit hole. You come on, Dave Witcher, sometimes, and we go down that rabbit hole. One or two other folks as well. But I have to say that a lot of the time, I'm just wondering if I'm kind of perpetuating a myth. Because it is clear. I mean, I did say, like, when May got in, it seemed to me pretty clear they're not going to elect a moron, if they want to stay in, if they want to leave, rather. It seemed a pretty clear, open and shut case as soon as they voted for her that they were going to do everything they could to keep us in.
What they want now, Ollie, they want the people to get so upset and in complete rage by what Parliament's doing that everyone comes together, everyone descends into chaos, and then they're going to bring in martial law. Yeah, that's what they've got planned. And
I wouldn't be half surprised.
Be smart enough to say, we know what you're playing at. Yeah, that's what they want. They want you
divide and conquer.
Off. They really do.
Yeah, it's auto ab KO, isn't it?
Yeah,
order out of chaos.
One at a time. One at a time, gentlemen. Yeah, order out of chaos. Yeah, order out of chaos. Which is why when Daily Brexit isn't Daily Brexit and it's Daily Chaos, It is called that. Auto Ab KO. Take a few comments. Alan Ashwood. Good evening, sir. Ashwood now on YouTube. Good on you, Alan Ashwood. God bless you, mate. And I want you on the show soon to give us a bit of a history lesson about this EU fascism, because I know you know it better than pretty much anybody I know. Chris W. May was not voted in. She was placed there. And Daz Butterfield says, waiting for us to kick off. Now, oh, blimey. I mean, I kind of think they really wanted it to kick off on the 29th at 11 o'clock. I was there in Parliament Square. There was no, and met Dave Jenkins, and that was really lovely. He's another one like Alan who really knows his stuff. And it was an honor to have a chat with him. He was a bit frustrated as well, was Dave, because he was kind of hoping that there would be maybe a few folks about, and that maybe, we could hold Parliament more to account. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to get him in any trouble or what have you. But the fact is that there weren't many people. Most people did stay at home, and it was a very orderly thing. But I kind of think that the powers that be, it would have played into their hands, actually, had something kicked off on the 29th at 11 o'clock. And maybe they're hoping for something on the 12th. What do you think about that, Witcher?
We have to continue to believe in what we're doing. We have to continue to keep the people pacified, to let them know what's coming, because they absolutely want everyone to kick off. They want to cause a furore. Look at the guys outside Downing Street. They have machine guns.
Yes.
Downing Street is off limits. Now, when I was a kid growing up, that was never the case. I could have walked up to the doors of Downing Street and knocked on the door, and someone could have come out. Yeah. So they're caged in. They want everyone out there to kick off. In come the troops. Bob's your uncle. Martial law, and that's it. That's your lot. And then the European Union has won. The European Union have orchestrated all of this, Ollie. They're the masters of it.
Piers.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's interesting you speak about 10 Downing Street. I remember walking down 10 Downing Street. There was still police outside 10 Downing Street. But my dad and I, when I was 12, 13, wandered up to 10 Downing Street. My dad said to the copper, do you mind if me and my son just wander down 10 Downing Street and have a look at number 10? And he was like, yes, absolutely fine. Just stick behind the railing there. So we walked down 10 Downing Street and stood outside 10 Downing Street, on the opposite side of the road where the press pack tend to gather when that witch comes out and says something. And it was absolutely fine. But yes, you're absolutely right. Nowadays, not a chance in hell of anybody being able to do that. No, and it just goes to show how times have changed.
In the olden days, yes. you could have. In the olden days, you could have grabbed her pussy. Larry the cat. Larry the cat. You could have gone up and stroked her pussy. Yeah. And now you can't get close to Larry the cat. It's an absolute. I say Larry for PM. Sorry, Witcher. Go on.
I used to take him a saucer of milk.
Yeah.
No, you did. You used to be able to walk up and down there. Now England has been turned very much into an industrial military complex. Whilst the slaves go out and labour and work and pay their taxes, this imperialistic war machine rampages the rest of the planet. And trust me when I say the world is watching what we're doing, and the rest of the world are not particularly happy. This government is in complete breach of every article of the Universal Declaration of Rights. There is not one part of that declaration that they are not violating.
David, what do you think Trump might do that might be positive in relation to the UK? I mean, he's clearly not part of the establishment because, I mean, literally ever since he got into power, he's been lambasted in 99.9% of the press daily.
Unless it's a big psyop.
Vitriol, it beggars belief. I mean, yes, he's a bit of a chump, but the people he works for, do you think that he's working for people that are basically trying to fight deep state? And do you think that they have any evidence, namely the federal, foreign intelligence documents that he keeps threatening to release about British collusion with the Democratic Unionists and the Clinton campaign to manipulate the 2016 presidential election. All this Russiagate nonsense was cooked up in order to try and thwart Trump's
Mueller's been
get into
busted.
power.
Yeah. He'd stroke her pussy, wouldn't he? Sorry, go on. What do you think? What do you think, Witcher? Is he a placeman, or is he true to his word? Do you think?
No, I think Trump is doing an amazing job. I think that President Donald Trump is going very quietly and stealthily about his business. He doesn't trust anyone in the deep state. He's there to expose them. And I think once he's rounded them all up, I think you're going to see it come out in the public domain. He's been doing many things and given many signals and signs. Guantanamo Bay, sealed indictments. I don't follow the Q post as much as many other people do, but I know that there is something going on, and I know that they're scared of him. He can't be bought. He's not doing it for money. He's doing this for the people, and I think that he will succeed. And I think in Israel, funnily enough, they went to press, I think, last year and introduced their new half shekel coin, which has to have quite a big containment of silver in it to have any sort of value.
Really?
But on the back of that coin, there is Cyrus and Trump. They've printed Trump on one of their coins. So yes, I do believe he's pretty much of a chosen one. I really do.
So that's not just fiat currency in that case. There's actually some value to those coins.
There is.
But on the other hand, now I would tend to agree with both of you guys about Trump. I want to think the best of anybody, actually, until they prove me wrong. But what's this deal with the Golan Heights? He's giving it to Israel. That's not very cool, is it? It doesn't belong to them.
Well, Israel... it's hard for me to comment on Israel because I don't know much about it, Ollie. I'll only sort of deal with stuff I know that's going on in my own country that I'm seeing with my own eyes.
No, I mean, this is one of the things about Brexit is that it's obfuscating. It is such a distraction that we don't know what else is going on.
Benjamin Fulford has posted about his intentions with Israel, and he seems to think that it's very much a case of friends close, enemies closer, and that Trump may be deliberately trying to incite Israel's neighbors to take action by supporting Benjamin Netanyahu's plans to steal land that was not part of any kind of arrangement given to them in 67, so I think he's playing Netanyahu's best friend while actually trying to incite and take steps to sort of change the situation out there. We get played, we get painted a certain picture in the mainstream media, but quite often there's so much more to it and so many other angles to it that we can't always rely. We can't rely on the mainstream media at all. We get given a version of reality in the mainstream which we then have to try and interpret, and that's the sad reality that we live in these days. I mean, journalism, all the mainstream media, the Guardian, the Mail, the Telegraph, the Express, the Sun, the Observer, name whatever paper you like. It's all very carefully controlled propaganda, really.
Yep,
I mean, the Telegraph have been. Sorry.
It is. Carry on. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Propaganda.
So we have to sort of try when we read these papers, and not every article you read is something that you wholeheartedly disagree with because it's clever.
No.
It's sort of
that's right.
The journalists know how to use words in order to manipulate. And if they write a clever article, then they can sway people in certain directions. The Telegraph do write,
and it's good
articles,
cop, bad cop, and all that kind of routine and all that as well.
But basically, what I'm trying to say is we need to read between the lines. You need to not only read mainstream media, you need to read alternative blogs and pages online that aren't fully sanctioned by anybody, but resonate with you on a different sort of level. Your gut instinct tells you that these things have some veracity, some truth to them. People may be able to sort of have first-hand experience of certain circumstances, may have been involved in some kind of way, and they're giving their testimony. You can, if you study and research, start to sort of grasp a sense of reality through all the noise that we're constantly bombarded with. And David sounds like a very well researched person who has built up his own take on reality. You're the same, Ollie, and so am I. And all I can do is encourage people to sort of trust their gut instinct on things, and
intuition,
and
absolutely
not just rely on. I mean, I literally don't even watch the news on television anymore.
No.
Because most of it's utter rubbish. I mean, I do listen to BBC Two, the Radio 2, when I'm in the car, but when the news comes on, I have to turn it off because the people reading the news sound like such supercilious, patronizing, beep 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 beeps and they, every word, every syllable, every sentence is designed to manipulate. It's designed to steer you and make you think in a way, and it's become so obvious to me now that I actually, the BBC News on the radio now reduces me to such an unbridled rage that I have to turn it off.
you would think, Ollie, if we was actually going to leave the European Union, this government would have implemented for the people, by the people. The industry would have been raced back into production. The farmers would have been raced back into production. We would have been making sure that we had good stores of produce to weather the storm. But frankly, all that we've seen in over 1,000 days is men and women just talk hot air and do nothing of substance and put anything into play. The majority of the stuff that we actually consume in this country doesn't come from the European Union. Food, loads of stuff comes from Morocco, all hot climates. We actually don't receive much of sustenance from the European Union. We joined the European Union to trade. That was it. We didn't join to become a political affiliation and to have a political union. And John Bercow admitted that Kate Hoy managed to drag out of him. He admitted, the Speaker of the House admitted, that the European Union law oversees British Parliament. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it means that actually, ever since the early 70s, democracy in this country has been completely bloody redundant.
It was admitted. They knew it was going to happen. Yeah. That was what the FCO 301048 was all about. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office said to Heath, we are under these plans and what have you. We are going to be rescinding our sovereignty entirely. And guess what? It would happen about now. Look, guys, gentlemen, look, I'm so chuffed that you're on together, because you actually are very much on a similar. It's kind of like we got an esoteric double bill here with old Piers tomorrow. I was kind of thinking tomorrow we'd go a bit further down the rabbit hole. Witcher, are you available possibly to join us tomorrow and go a bit further down the rabbit hole with us with regards to this kind of subject, sir? Please.
Come on. We're basically using that speech that Morpheus said when he talks about people being so, inert, so embedded in the system that they'll fight to protect it.
Sir.
God bless you. Okay, we'll do that. I just want to take a few more comments, and I want to say, everybody if you're watching on Facebook, you know what? I'm still very fond of you, yeah. But if you're watching on YouTube, I'm more so. And there's more people watching on Facebook right now than on Facebook, and there's never happened before.
They'll only become unplugged.
I can't stand either. Actually, is the God's honest truth. But the fact is that, it's like needs must and all that. And if Facebook are just deliberately not allowing people, when they share the show, and anybody that isn't subscribed to the channel or what have you, they're saying, well, we can't see it. It's like it's a dead link. There's nothing there. That is the level of complicity with this whole, sort of propagandist regime that we're seeing from Facebook. And I seriously do wonder how much of that is to do with a certain former leader of the Liberal Democrats and Deputy Prime Minister. And so anyway, I just want to read a few more comments, and please try and check out the show on YouTube in future. And the link will always be in the promo that I send out, wherever I send it, and wherever you're watching the show, at the top you can see the link to see the show on YouTube. So please go there. Please subscribe to the channel as well, and all that stuff. And let's get involved there. And I don't want to neglect this awesome community and wonderful people who I've come to love through doing Daily Brexit. There's about, 9,000, 10,000 people. There's half of them are like the page, or what are the other half are following it. I don't want to neglect any of you folks, and I'm so grateful. But, needs must. And it seems to me that this show had to move over. And so just a couple more comments from YouTube before we all go off and grab ourselves a much needed beer. Tanis Pullon says, yes, Pauling. There's something between the comments there. I don't know. Miss Horn says, but at least you would know it was a dog or a cat. Meow. I think that actually might be referring to Theresa May's pussy again. Pauline Davies, I said years ago Germany couldn't do it through war. Now they're going to be manufacturing. The UK will be finance. Yes, indeed. Mikey B, she's a childless spinster. Stav Woodcutter's just sort of shrugging his shoulders. I think it's probably the pussy joke again. Sorry, I do apologise for that. I love Larry the cat. I love a bit, I really like cats. I was going to say pussy. All right, Eva Cripps. Wow, interesting. Certainly our money is worthless. Worth thinking about going back to gold and silver. Yes, which is what JFK said he was going to do, and actually started to do just before he was assassinated. And then what did Johnson do when he took over the presidency? He reverted back to fiat. But yes, indeed, very another subject.
I'm busting. I'm gonna have to go.
Oh, Piers, mate, go on. You. That's normally me, mate.
See you both tomorrow night. Ciao.
God bless you, Piers. Jamie Mitchell says, ever remember the Fulfords on Channel 4? AJ, the occupation was created through the Balfour Agreement in the 1940s. That's correct. Balfour and Lord Rothschild, which is why personally I call it Rothschild's land. But Miss Horn, it's time the people in high places don't treat us like idiots. BBC is worst. I hate them with a passion. And just got time for a quick. And Nigel Brown, stop using debit cards, draw cash and use it. Yes, support your local shops, people. Support them, and they don't have them having to pay big charges to the banks as well. Bless them. Mark Leyland, stop watching EastEnders. Amanda Rolfson. Hey, Amanda. I saw you on the 29th too. And your husband, Eric. Fantastic. From Holland. They came from Holland. Or biggest supplier, etc. really is USA. Yes, indeed. Who we could be trading with. But apparently, oh no, we don't want to do that. Look, if they've got a problem with chlorinated chicken, just label it. What's the problem? We're already eating that rubbish like Kentucky Fried Chicken, Big Macs and all the other, carcinogenic rubbish. Oh, maybe it's not carcinogenic, but it's not exactly good for you, is it? Paul Perrin, good evening, sir. You can get 1 gram gold bars and silver. That's right. Just get a load and use them. Silver has VAT, but is at 0%. In Estonia. Now, Jane Finch came on the show, and she's a gold pro, very lovely lady. And I asked her we were talking all about gold that particular show, and she said, I said, it's important that people have it in hand, as opposed to some certificate, which in itself is worthless, unless you've got the gold or the silver in your hand. And she said, yes, absolutely. And in fact, if anybody does want to buy a bit, then she might be somebody to talk to. And there you go. I'm gonna leave you with a story, the very latest on this charade And it's in the Sexpress. Brexit bombshell. PM admits no deal with Labour. 1922 committee refuses confidence vote. Theresa May has so far failed to reach any kind of deal with Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. It has been revealed. The Prime Minister admitted that there was no deal with Labour. A briefing given to the 1922 committee this afternoon. I think that was at 6 o'clock, wasn't it? One attendee has revealed, in spite of this, the committee also refused to put forward an indicative confidence vote in the beleaguered Prime Minister. The committee's chairman, Sir Graham Brady, made the revolutions to ITV's political correspondent, Paul Brand. And I can't really blame old Dave Witcher for having cut off there, because you know what? It is just such a load of old cock, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's just all a joke. It's all a joke. Oh, blimey. Is that going to play? Is that going to play? You going to play? My machine is... yeah, here we go. It'll come up. It'll come up. Come up. Oh, God, blimey. Supposed to have an outro bit of music here. Apparently not. Yeah, right. You know what? I'll catch you tomorrow, folks. God bless you. Seven o'clock, folks. 7 o'clock. Yeah, and Robin Horsley is going to be in on Wednesday, and we'll be talking about the circus that is the Palace of Westminster. Trying to work it out. And then on Thursday, Godfrey Bloom. And we're going to be talking about UKIP versus the Brexit Party, trying to work out, I don't know, what's going on there. And they've got to unite, haven't they? They've got to unite! Or is that just a big old charade as well? I don't know. I want to try and find out, I'll tell you that. And Alan Ashwood, no, I do not want you to sing, sir. No, I do want your brain. I do want to hear what you've got to say about the Lisbon Treaty, because at the moment, as you've been saying for a long time, we are heading into it. Nighty night, folks. God bless you. Here's to us and bugger plutocracy. Yeah, all this rubbish.